Hey guys, well, here we go. This video, as you may have noticed, is titled, Hey White People. This is a video that I've been thinking about recording for a few months, and I had meant to do make it more of a, not a production, but like make it something a little nicer with some editing, whatever. But there's just like no time for that anymore. I'm a thinker. It takes me a long time to process things and realize what I want to say. And I'm not even saying that I'm done or that I was feeling ready to put this video out, but I feel like I can't wait anymore. There have been too many things happening in the costuming community, one after another, that it's time for somebody to say something. Okay, let me rephrase that. There is time for those of us with privilege to take the burden off of our BIPOC, AAPI, LGBTQ+, Latinx, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu friends. It's been a long summer, right? And I can't say that these events are kind of a surprise. I work in a museum. People say ignorant things all the time. But we should be past this by now, by where we are. I first started thinking about this over a year ago when a friend of mine and I had gone on like a little mini vacation, and we went to like some COVID sort of safe, we went to the beach and we went to Colonial Williamsburg, where we figured we could be outside more, or at least there would be room for like social distancing and things. And I'm ashamed to say that I hadn't thought about it until this incident, but we were visiting one of the buildings that was open because it was like open air kind of a situation. And the interpreter there was a Black woman who was talking about the enslaved experience at the Randolph House and in Williamsburg in general in the 18th century. And she talked about how the population of Williamsburg at that time was about 60% Black, and how that's not what you see represented in the streets of Colonial Williamsburg today, because she said something like, Black people don't want to dress up like this and parade down these streets. That's not exactly what she said, but it got me to thinking about what messages white people are sending when they dress up as wealthy enslavers and colonizers at sites of trauma for specific communities, people of color, Indigenous people, all of these things. Like, incidents keep happening in the community that tells me that we are more concerned with seam placement, fiber content, and appropriate trims than we are with harming communities that have already been traumatized. Now, I'm not saying that what I'm going to communicate in this video is going to be perfect. I hope that my trying or being in the process of educating myself is of some value. I'm not done. I'm not there yet. I don't communicate things the way I would like to. Often I can be thoughtless, but I hope that I am training myself to be more thoughtful. And so this video is geared toward white, cisgender, heterosexual, well, maybe not even Judeo, but Christian, or people who identify in that realm. This is for you. Hey, white people, here's how to be an anti-racist, anti-transphobic, anti-homophobic costumer And we're going to include religious minorities or sort of marginalized groups in that too. How can we be more accepting as a community? So I jotted down some thoughts, and like I said, this has been in process, and I also will say again that I don't think it's done. It's not complete. It's not perfect, but I couldn't wait any longer. I am someone who likes to think and process and take my time. There's no more time to process and think. I have to say something. It's gone beyond ridiculous, and it has been for a long time. Okay, so step one, according to Christine, is listen. Listen to what people are telling you. Listen when they tell you that what you're doing or saying is offensive. Listen when they tell you their experiences, especially when they're different from yours, especially when you might disagree a little bit. Listen. And if you don't have people in your trusted bubble who are able to tell you when you're being dumb, it's time for you to expand your horizons in other ways. You can follow costumers, people on Instagram and TikTok who can share their experiences with you. Costumers of color, or there are people out there who are offering education without asking for anything in return, and we should support them, and we should listen when they tell us. I'm actually going to return to that point in a little bit, because even though they are doing these things, they are taking on this burden, it is not their responsibility for them to educate us, and that's kind of the point of this video. It is a privilege problem, and here we go. Number 2, be welcoming. Remember when you were a kid and the adults, like in your school or whatever group or organization or club or whatever you were part of, told you to look for the kid on the playground who was alone, or the kid at the cafeteria, in the cafeteria who's alone, to like go sit by them and bring them into the group? We need to do that. We need to do that with people who may feel uncomfortable in these situations. I have social anxiety. I am not good at doing this, and I need to be better. So we need to let people know that our events are safe spaces. And if they aren't, we need to question and reevaluate why they aren't. So one reason why they might not be a safe space is because we tend to gatekeep. We all like to show off our work, but if you are creating an atmosphere where if you can't live up to the haute couture standards of some of the more established costumers, then you're not welcome, that's a problem. There are only specific times when historical accuracy in clothing counts, and those are really in education situations. If you're reenacting in a reenacting group, and that's up to your group to determine your standards. If you are a living historian, if you are a museum educator, these are places where accuracy counts, and your organization should be able to help you pull something together so that you can still participate while you do what you can. Okay. Also, it's none of your business what somebody's fiber content is, what pattern they used, if they machine sewed it, if somebody of their gender should be wearing that, if somebody of their race should be wearing that, if somebody of their race should even be in that space. It is none of your business. If you are at a reenactment and there is an Asian reenactor, shut your mouth and welcome. Well, don't say anything negative. Welcome them to the space, okay? There's room for everybody to play in the sandbox, but be quiet. Nobody asked for your opinion, so. Okay. Allow others to have fun regardless of gender or race in historical context. The end. Allow others to have fun regardless of historical accuracy. Allow others to have fun, regardless of ability. Okay, the rest of these are from greatergood.berkeley.edu, keys to everyday anti-racism, though I've sort of adapted them for costuming, the costuming community. Number 1 is education, not just dress history. Place that garment in context. You just need a little bit so that people, when they ask you, if they do, will understand what you're wearing means within the time period. Read accounts from those who lived the experience, okay? Not just people who would have been in your similar situation, but other individuals of that time. It helps you to establish some empathy. Number 2 is intention. Overcoming biases and prejudice takes work, and we need to make a conscious decision to make this a part of your day and of your event. Question your motivation and question your judgments, okay? Should you be wearing that? Should you be wearing that in that setting? These are serious questions that need to be asked and can avoid issues if you just take the time to ask them and maybe do a Google search. Number 3, stop being so defensive. Defense is a response to avoiding negative feelings or people calling you out on your garbage. So this discomfort might be telling you that what you are doing is wrong. Okay, so before you, but take a minute to think and process and examine your motivations, your behavior, and question whether or not, listen and question whether you're right, whether you should be doing what you should be doing, because if you are feeling that kind of discomfort, you probably shouldn't. Question, should a white person wear this? Question, should I be taking pictures here dressed like this? Question, is this an inconvenience or oppression? This type of work takes courage. See people as individuals, check those stereotypes. Don't ask your one black friend if it's okay for you to do that, or wear that, or go there, okay? Stop asking them to do the emotional work for you and stop holding people up as a monolith that, oh, well, it's okay because the one person that I asked said it was. They're not responsible for doing that work for you, so figure it out. Do some research. Question everything. Should this site be used for this event? Is there appropriate interpretation? Will it create an emotional barrier for BIPOC, AAPI, LGBTQ+, Indigenous, and other marginalized people? Are aesthetics more important than inclusion? Okay. Number 6, be anti-racist. It's not enough to just be not racist. You need to be anti-racist. Be ready to educate people about what your clothing really means, including material sources, labor, expense, etc. And going back to empathy, listen and educate yourself. Allyship which is number 8, means to take on the struggle as your own. When you see something, say something. It cannot be the responsibility of these communities to call us out on our crap. Now, if you see a specific incident where someone is going after someone else in one of these communities, you can step in, ask for permission. Okay. 9, it's just, why is it so hard to love each other? Not everything is a competition, and we all have this common interest, which is kind of weird, right? We should be totally just like loving on each other and our costumes, right? Okay. Number 10, my last one, is shut up. Shut up. You don't need to tell somebody that they don't belong there. You don't need to tell somebody that their their garment is wrong. You don't need to ask somebody their gender or their sexuality. Just shut up. And please, 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 stop making them do the work for us. It is not their responsibility to educate us on what is and isn't appropriate, what that we should and shouldn't do. You can figure that out on yourself because you are a thinking person with a brain. You can do research. You have a computer. If you have access to the library, you can get any book in the world. So please, please stop making people do the emotional work and the educational work for us. It should not be the responsibility of these communities to call white costumers out when they screw up. It should be our responsibility because racism is a privilege problem. And we should be stepping in, those of us who see the problem should be stepping in to help educate other privileged people in this process. Like it blows my mind. I know I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I will probably screw up. I will probably do something thoughtless, but I'm working really hard to educate myself to not do those things, to when I screw up, to hopefully not do big dumb things. And I hope that I am working on myself enough that when people call me out for mistakes that I've made, that I will be able to accept that, to learn from it, to offer a sincere apology to the people that I've hurt, move on and do better. So I guess that's number 11. If you are not part of the group that has been hurt or traumatized, you don't get to accept an apology. You can acknowledge a sincere apology and say, okay, I believe that you are being truthful and honest with yourself. I believe that you are going to try to move on and do better, and so I will continue to support you in whatever. But you don't get to say, I forgive you. It's okay, because you are not the one that was hurt. Okay? I don't know what else to say other than we have to do better to create inclusive spaces. I heard somebody yesterday on an Instagram Live say they don't even want to go to costuming events because they know how it will be. And that makes me sad. This should not be who we are. We need to do better. I am committing today to try to do better. And I hope that you'll do the same.